Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. Therefore, I'll start again. A very warm good evening. Arnav Chaudhary here. You're live on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. It is August the 6th, 2025. It's another Indian football discussion here on my channel, on my platform. So welcome those who are watching live and those who might be watching this later on. And Indian football, where are we going? Where are we heading? No idea, but let's talk about football on the field first. The India under-20 women's team were held to a goalless draw by Indonesia, and while Myanmar won 6-1 in their first game. So India already a little bit under pressure. And on the other side, the big news of the day is that Chennai Football Club have announced that they are shutting their operations for now as well. So after Odisha FC, after Bengaluru FC, now we have Chennai FC following in those footsteps. And I think there are other entities that are thinking about this step as well. So therefore, that's a dangerous scenario, in my opinion, that we find ourselves in, that clubs are thinking that this is the best step for them, given the current scenario. And that is, as I say, very, very worrying. But again, what needs to happen I don't know. It's as you see, I'm a little lost for words. Hi, Tradawala. Welcome back to the platform. Ragnar says people pushing for Bajaj AIFF president with proper knowledge. The only thing he can do is talk with mouth. Why nobody question him? Why is the Canvas even after playing U17 in your team still lose? Ragnar, I honestly, I have given up. I personally will wish Ranjit all the best in what he does. But, I wish that it actually has a meaningful impact. That is my problem. And again, if the sports bill is cleared, Ranjit cannot become president. So there's one good thing in the sports bill at least then. So let's wait and see what happens. Good evening, Siddharth. Welcome back to the platform. So for me, I think that's the point at the moment. We are in a situation which is very, very tricky, to say the least. We are in a situation in tomorrow's meeting, from what I'm hearing, the AIFF in Delhi will be meeting with most of the ISL teams. So all in the end, not only the 8 clubs, but all 13 clubs were invited. Mohan Bagan has clearly stated that they don't want to have to do anything with the AIFF currently. So that's at least -1. So let's see who amongst the other 12 will turn up. FSDL is also set to be there. But my question would be to FSDL, do you actually have internal authority in the house to really speak on behalf of Reliance? Because FSDL is supposed to be one down and a new entity we created. So therefore, let's see. Good that they're all sitting down. But with the CEOs, with FSDL and with the top leadership of the AIFF, are the people sitting down who can take decisions, who can take a call on things, who can influence things. Very simple. And it's let's wait and see what happens. I have limited to no expectations. Kumar, you say Ashish broke the news. I would say the clubs. Sorry. So therefore, for me, tomorrow, good to do. But I made a video today where I said and asked, what options do ISL clubs have? Who should they approach? Yeah. And I think, from my understanding, I watched the video. It's nearly 7 minutes. There are 3 entities that the ISL teams needed to contact, realizing with FSL we're not making any headway. It's first the Supreme Court. Didn't go there. Then I should have sent a letter to AFC, the Asian Football Confederation, and then reach out to FIFA. That would have been my modus operandi, and say, this is the situation in India. Can you help? Can you intervene? That would have been, as I say, that would have been my approach. I would have said, guys, this is how I would have approached it, because, yeah. But again, these people hopefully will take the right steps, whatever is needed. Hey, Uchut, I could see live streaming of all U20 Asian Cup qualifiers except ours. Yeah, I don't know why why there were strikes on that game. I don't know. Was someone legally doing a broadcast of it, and therefore it wasn't allowed to be streamed or something? I don't know. I'm just curious why these problems came up. Hey, Blue, another club, Chennai FC stopped operation. Yeah, Blue, this is what I said at the start. Expected, expected lines, and India women U20s is Indonesia. Yeah, kya ho gaya? Mohammed, nothing much. It's a draw. I don't know why, but yeah. So therefore, yeah. Did the sports bill come up today? Uchud, not that I know of. I know that it is supposed to come up before the end of the week, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, let's wait and see what happens. What is Romesh tweet on recent situation? Football India, Rohit, after shutting down Chennai City FC, former I-League champions, has been active in Southeast Asia. And again, he is pointing the blame away from the AIFF at others, which is right. But again, everybody has to take their share of the blame. Rohit, you also did certain things which I thought, can be discussed. So therefore, for me, everybody wants to have their say, and I think to me, that's the biggest problem. Again, we're in a free world. Everybody is allowed to say whatever he or she wants. But I think certain people should just keep their opinions to themselves, right? And allow people with a little bit more knowledge to get involved. That's Indian football's biggest problem, I feel. And everybody is blabbering around, putting his, as we used to say here, 2 cents of opinions, and it doesn't work. So therefore, for me, let's see. Poor performance by U20 women's team, didn't expect a draw. So this happens, right? And this, even somewhat of a 1-0, doesn't matter how, would have helped, because Myanmar winning 6-1 puts a lot of pressure on India. And again, that's why I said those friendly results before doesn't matter. Now these results matter, right? I always say matches and qualifiers, matches and tournaments count, right? Friendlies, or let's say CAFA Nations Cup, those things don't really count. My Asian Cup qualifiers, my FIFA World Cup qualifiers, all those count. Any outcome from tomorrow meeting? Punjab, let's see. I don't think so. Their meeting, that is good. It's happening 3 months too late, but it's happening at least now in August. This should have happened in May. because in May nobody thought that this situation should arise, and therefore I'm expecting nothing. I mean, they'll have some tea, some coffee, some biscuits, maybe some other snacks. I don't know. Maybe there's a lunch involved. Let's see how long the whole thing lasts. And for me, for example, the other question is, if you're inviting all the clubs, Inter Kashi now has clearly won its case in CAS. Why is Inter Kashi not invited to this meeting? Right? What will happen in the meeting, Mohun Bagan not being in it? Is it some kind of divided? Mohun Bagan doesn't take, or at least Mr. Goenka and his people don't take the AIFF seriously at the moment. I think that's the whole issue. And I think Mr. Goenka wants to be stay loyal, I think, to the Ambanis, right? So therefore, some of the things that have happened in the last couple of days come as a surprise. I said, especially today, Chennai shutting down, Chennai and Mumbai City joining the meeting. So therefore, there are certain things which are happening. Let's wait and see what happens. Is Indonesia 20 women's team good? I wouldn't say so, Hannibal, but again, we didn't beat them, right? I don't know why still the clubs didn't file the intervention petition. Kumar, ask the clubs. I don't know. Again, that I've said this for a while. So therefore, for me, yeah. As I said, those who haven't watched the video, let me just post it here. That where I say clearly, what is needed at this stage, right? And where do we need to go? Because my problem at this moment in time with this whole situation, given the realities of Indian football, is that we are still not there where we want and where we need to be, right? We are nowhere near where we want, where we need to be, and the clubs, the clubs themselves are to blame for a certain, situation, so to say, if you ask me, right? For me, that is something, if I like or don't, right? Because none of them took it seriously. That is my complaint to the clubs at this moment in time, right? So yeah. Any news about Goa, FC Goa? What's in your 20? No, Madhurish, I haven't heard anything on that. What was that today or was it tomorrow? Today, right? 6th. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. Court's pending verdict stops important football operations in a country, including the top league. Isn't third-party interference according to FIFA? Of course it is. But someone needs to go to FIFA, no? FIFA can't. FIFA can only step in some way when there is some sort of. I mean, if the AIFF operations are halted, then they can stop in because it's a federation. If a federation mattered like a league, then either the federation, the clubs, the league organizers, they can go to FIFA and say, listen, guys, this is the situation. That's why I said the clubs should have gone if they'd realized that the Supreme Court it's not going. And this is what I would have also mentioned to going to the Supreme Court. I said, listen, we are asking you for help, for support, this, that, everything. But if you can't, we will go to higher authorities because law of sports stands above the law of the land. And then, these things could have happened. Why don't we take talking like AIFF is not a problem there is in circus of Indian football? Kumar, because because he's looking at it from his perspective, right? And again, he is himself a former Indian club owner, that's something which is which is their take. Hey, Rudra, yeah, as you say, chai, coffee, biscuits, maybe some snacks, and an exchange. If FIFA ban comes, will it stop our national teams and clubs to compete in Asia? Yes, it would. That's what I'm saying. I think we are in that situation, right? And the biggest danger, and I've said this a few weeks ago, my biggest fear is India getting banned and women missing the Asian Cup next year. My biggest fear. The men's being thrown out of the Asian Cup, okay, wouldn't like it, but collateral. But are women missing out and then missing out on a chance to potentially play in a World Cup? Disaster. Hey, Ishan, you're right. Once again, you could foresee the problems we're going to face as a club sorting operations, etc. Ishan, I don't know. If you ask me, um, it's very simple. I think about these things logically in a systematic manner. Let's put it this way, right? Um, I don't know why others don't see it, and why others have denied this. Whenever I've spoken to them, no, these things will not happen. You know, and they say something which is I still don't. I'm not. I'm not getting over that point. Where it's like, guys, why are we not realizing that the situation we find ourselves in was and is and should have been avoidable, right? Everything is happening except court verdict and MRA negotiation. Ocho, court verdict, MRA negotiation, the so-called sports bill, all of those things, which were supposed to be done in the last 3 weeks, none of them have happened, right? So therefore, again, if I like it or not, these are all things that have happened. These are all that are happening. And yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, the realities of India, the legal system, politics, all of that is just shown in this small little thing, right? Draw for men's and women's U17 AFC Asian Cup qualifier 2026 draw tomorrow. Yeah, so and the men's we're in pot 2, but we're going to be one of the hosts. And in the women's, we are in pot 1. Is it true City Group parted ways from Mumbai City? Oniban, no. But it is a possibility. If we look at this stage, right, if we look at the ISL not happening, then a City Football Group will go. JSW, not sure. Tatas will tell, thank you very much, Tata Baba. We'll just do Tata Football Academy. Mr. Goenka is going to go. Imami, if Mr. Goenka goes, then the whole shebang of Imami, Jaideep Modi, this, that, everything, losses, all of it's gone, right? People tell me, oh, only a few clubs will. In the I-League also now I'm hearing murmurs. That's why I put out a tweet this afternoon. In the I-League, I'm hearing from clubs, it's like, what's the situation with the I-League actually? We've not heard anything from the AIFF. And there you realize that the same situation that you have in the ISL is there in the I-League as well, because the AIFF have come out and said, this and this date we're going to do I-League and this and that, everything. No, I'm not hearing anything, right? Last year, the I-League 3 was already planned and sorted. So therefore, this is, Animan, if, City Football Group is like anyone, yeah. So therefore, I hope it doesn't happen, but this is a realistic opportunity, not opportunity. This is a realistic danger. Let's maybe call it that way. That City Football Group, that all the other big stakeholders in the Indian Super League will leave. Right? Years down the line, we're again staring at a FIFA ban plus uncertainty regarding ISL. We're worse off than we were a few years ago. Ishan, we are worse off than ever before. Let me call it out that way, right? If you ask me, the current situation that we are in, I've been now following closely Indian football for the last 27 years through when I started IndianFootball.com, right? And therefore, for me, this is the worst that I've seen. Because with all the problems that I've seen over the last 27 years, I've always seen some sort of progression, despite all the problems, right? And I remember, right? So therefore, yeah, and therefore for me, the problem is if one problem is solved, the others are not solved, right? If we say, okay, Supreme Court verdict, election, MRA sorted, league structure sorted, who's going to fund the whole shebang? If you guys think about yourself, if you own a company, Would you associate yourself with Indian football at this moment in time? Simple question. And this is not a new question, right? This is a question of the last 2 years where you've seen since Hero left, since others left, that except the sports betting companies via the surrogates, were the only ones who were actually, not only, but they were mainly either front of shirt or back of shirt sponsors, right? So we have this problem has been brewing for a while. So even if we're sorting it, again, it starts leadership at the top, stakeholders taking decisions in the interest of Indian football. My question to all the ISL clubs attending tomorrow is, do you recognize that your duty tomorrow is not to look out for your own club, but for the league and for Indian football? Because last year, I remember when the I-League got together and the I-League clubs did that Zoom call, which I attended. I was in Mallorca at the time. I was in a car. I was listening. They were not talking with one voice. So this is not an ISL specific problem. That's why I said today also in my video, I've seen, when was this, 2001, 2002, Vijay Mallya, Samir Thapa and all wanted to get rid of Triranjan Das Munshi. Didn't happen, right? Because Priyodhana is a smart, clever politician, right? So this is not new. This is when the I-League Professional Club Association, whatever it was called, Chirag Tanna was heading it with a lot of hope in 2012. Because the clubs were not falling in line, Reliance wanted to make the I-League to the ISL. This is a story which a lot of people don't know because people were not there 13 years ago, right? The ISL would have never been created if the I-League clubs agreed to, okay, listen, we have to bring in a certain level of commercialization. We will bring big Indian corporates into the game, right? Those are things which people will never tell you. Companies like Godrej were being approached to come in because Reliance was using its good offices. But it was stopped by a lot of people because they realized if those big corporates come in, that our power, our control gets less. So those people who tell you, oh, you know, this, whatever, you've had your shot, you couldn't do it, and now you cry and destroy. Nothing more, nothing less. What made the Supreme Court take this decision of halting major decisions of the AIFF? A lawyer saying that this should be halted, that it is in the remit of the Supreme Court and that the MRA was against the interest of Indian football. That was said, that was sold, right? The ISL bashers are forgetting that the I-League and other events were all due to the Reliance money AIFF used to receive. Ochud, very, 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 very important point. I said that someone wrote something on my channel today that it's the ISL's fault of the demise of the I-League. No. The I-League was running for the last 11 years because of the money. Sorry, not 11 years. The last 15 years because of the money, or 14 years for the money of Reliance. Everything. The I-League is a subsidized product. Of course, the owners in the I-League are also losing money. But they have been subsidized by Reliance money via the AIFF. Right? If I was the AIFF, the first thing I would do is say, guys, you know, all my subsidies that I'm handing out, I have to cut. I don't have the money. State associations, clubs, you're on your own, right? If you can't do it, it can't be my problem. It is your problem, right? This is the problem of all these. Listen, I'm giving money to people to run things. This is also the problem why no one wants the new model that Reliance is proposing, which is an European club model. The clubs are stakeholders of the league, the National Federation is a stakeholder league, and the marketing partners are a stakeholder of the league. So it's also your job to ensure that this league works. Because why? The ISL clubs have become complacent because over the last 11 years, everything was done for them by Reliance, right? And the AIFF was getting money for the last 15 years from Reliance. No questions asked. These are the biggest problems of why we are where we are today. And that's the reality, right? And therefore, all these so-called ISL bashers, Ochud, as you've called them, they don't realize if ISL and Reliance is gone, at this moment in time, there is no I-League because the AIFF cannot fund the I-League. That is, you know, all of this is interlinked, it is intertwined. This needs to be understood. And we are in a very, very, very dangerous situation, because the 25-26 season might happen with no top level league in Indian football. Right? That's the reality. If I like it or you like it or not. Right, more than 26 minutes. If you like a conversation, I know it's a little hard hitting today, but these are the realities. I would love to be talking about positive things, but these are the realities as they are. If you're liking the conversation, if you want to support me, do leave a like behind, share it with other people as well. 13 likes so far. I think we can do better, guys. And of course, always my request, if you are following the channel, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching and maybe not a subscriber, subscribe, ask your questions. I will try and answer as honestly as I can. You know, it's very interesting to see at the moment. It's go up, it goes up, it goes down, it goes down, it goes up. So yeah, I need your support. I need your support to grow this platform here on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on all my platforms. So, you know, I can be the voice of reasoning, the conscience of Indian football, of what is right or what is wrong. If people like it or not, I will continue to say that. I will not glorify things. I will not tell people, you know, and yeah, that's it. Hi, Dada. Hi, Rida. I'm good. Hypothetically saying if AIFF, and again, don't call them, again, you know, they might be doing the things wrong, you know, but morons, idiots, stupid, whatever. Those are the nice things, but again, people can say much worse. And therefore, for me, hypothetically saying if AIFF doesn't come up with a deal and both parties doesn't come together, then what will happen realistically? What will be the next step you can think of? The ISL is history. And the AIFF is in SOS mode to try and run its operations. If there's no solution to this, which is an opportunity, realistic opportunity, you know, which is realistic. It is one of the options on the table at the moment, right? Either, okay. And Ishan asked, do you see a way out of this? What are options? The option number one, given the realities, Reliance is gone, ISL shuts down. Option one, meaning the AIFF will not be able to fund the whole thing. You know? Option two, you get a model working within Reliance and the AIFF and say, you know what? The old MRA is extended till 31st of May 2026. So that the 25-26 season at least can be held. You know? And use that time to find solution to a new MRA. Option three, you find a solution to the new MRA, whatever that is, in its current form or different form, and both sides sign it. Those are realistically the realistic, you know. Yeah. Hey, Shaggy, good to see you back. Guess it's going to hamper the women's league and football as well. What's your take on the women's calendar the AIFF promised? Shaggy, I thought the calendar is brilliant in the sense of realistically what they can do, because it is, for example, no point of me saying, hey guys, can we do something? Send them here, send them there. But if the money is not there, and I don't know, I've not heard anything still if the government is chipping in with some money to support the AIFF and the Indian women's team. I think this is a question that the government of India needs to answer at some stage, is that are you actually supporting the women the way, or the women's football team the way that you seem to support hockey or cricket or whatever. So therefore, that's going to be interesting. And the league is in danger. I don't know if the AIFF has the money to fund a home and away system. If they say, listen, we are cancelling our subsidies. I think the biggest problem of the AIFF has been over the last 30 years since the start of the NFL in the men's game and then everything else, that there are subsidies for things. And I've said this, I know a lot of people hate me for saying that. Many years back, people said, how can you say that? I said, listen, why are they ever subsidizing that you with the club are playing in a competition? Travel allowance, hotel allowance, this, that, everything. That's your problem as a club, right? It shouldn't be the problem of the AIFF. So we've had a lot of entities playing at the top level who financially should have never been there. That should be also another question in Indian football. Of course, we've had success stories, but if you can't fund it, this is professional football. This is about money, guys. So therefore, we are asking seriously, where will our top players play? Bangladesh and other South nations, probably since Southeast Asian nations will not sign up. Ishan, I don't know. I think that some of the top players will try and go abroad, at least train somewhere or the other, or maybe they will, do, I don't know, Harlem Globetrotter thing and get together teams and play here and there and train and something. I don't know. That might be an option. Some might be sitting just at home, right? So I think some will actually retire. I think we will lose certain players, and some might go to Bangladesh or Nepal or Maldives or Sri Lanka if there is something or the other, right? My fear are not, Ishan. My fear are not the players. My fear is that we could, what happens to the people who work in the clubs? Not the players who are earning in lakhs and all that stuff. Yeah. What happens to the people who are earning 20, 30, 40, 50,000 rupees? Right? Is this new memory meant to remove AIFF influence of ISL? No. I mean, Newton, Chacha, this thought process is already wrong. What influence does the AIFF currently have on the ISL? Think that way, right? In theory, the AIFF is getting more influence on the ISL with this contract, right? So, because they are then 16% stakeholders. And from what I know, Reliance, because the AIFF is society, is willing to cover for potential losses. But the 50 crores thing is something, again, Reliance has been paying money without any return on anything. Right? So that's the reality. Hey, Methamphetamine, I'm good. How are you? Pretty disappointed with our game against Indonesia. Hopefully we'll win the rest and pray. Yeah, now uphill task, very uphill task. Nepal U20 and Bhutan U20 also tied. Nepal's condition same as ours, as Red Apple. Okay. How did you feel about today's game? I watched it bits and pieces since I was at work. I was also work. I was a lot of calls, so I wasn't listening to it. Actually, I wasn't watching it properly, to be very honest. So, very difficult. And then, of course, I don't know, the links were disappearing. Wasn't as focused as I should have been. So therefore, difficult. I mean, to judge, I would have thought that we can beat Indonesia. But again, as I said yesterday, football is a game which you have to play and then win, right? Ochu says the previous two presidents were influential. The current is far from that. Similar thing happening with Indian Olympic Association with the same person as assistant secretary. Yeah, Ochu. If I like it or not, I need someone at the top who has some level of influence. Either, again, you could bring in the best person in the world to become president of the AIFF. But if he doesn't know the right people here and there, what are you going to do? And this is, you need understanding of sports management, of sports administration to be able to work your way through this situation. That is in my opinion, the biggest challenge at this moment in time, right? For me, that's can the AIFF maneuver itself through this? And at this moment, it looks very, very difficult. So your predictions, what's going to happen next in Indian football? Pranjal, if I knew what was happening next, I don't know. I've said earlier that we need to have a decision in the Supreme Court. What is the trickling down effect of that? That's then the next question. Does, when the Supreme Court comes out with the new constitution, does it violate the FIFA statutes, rules and regulations so much that FIFA directly says, pull it back or we ban? Might be an option. AIFF election called. Does that happen? MRA conversation. There are so many options. I don't know. There are, in the past, you could predict where are we going with this. At the moment, anybody who's telling you, I know what will happen next, he or she is lying. Because I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. And even my best guess could be totally off. Right? Tomorrow might be a weird conversation turning on, and something might happen in tomorrow's talks where we're saying, okay, interesting, I didn't think of this. So therefore, at the moment, yeah. I heard that India U20 lost to FC Goa by 5-0. Okay, then I actually haven't checked on that result. There can be short-term solution of extending old MRA till the end of the season. I could continue negotiations on the MRA, but the AIFF didn't take the case in April, May, and June. All went on hold. Newton Chacha, there were conversations happening, right? And but it was too late, right? If you're talking in March, April this year, yeah, the contract runs out in December. Normally, such a contract should be discussed ideally 3 years, minimum 2 years in advance. Do you want to extend? What are we talking about? Numbers? This, everywhere in the world you do that, right? So, and this MRA extension for a short term, yeah, that's the solution that I've said months ago. But even in April, they didn't want to think about that. Why did Bharat Forge pull out of I-League in a short span of time? Not Bharat Forge, Kalyani. Was Kalyani Bharat Forge? Oh, I don't even know. Because they realized that they were spending money on the I-League on a level that, and they spend a lot in the first year. I remember they signed Shubhat Pal, Gauram Singh, and some other top players as well. And they spent so much of money in 1 year that they said, listen, where's the income? And they realized it's a bucket with a hole and the money is just gone at the bottom and you have to put in more money, right? So therefore, for me, yeah, bunch of Bharat FC, yeah, but that's Kalyani Bharat as a group. So therefore, they pulled out. Yeah, the same thing happened with Dotsal FC, right? Mumbai, new professional team coming up, this, that, everything. And then they realized, even just playing after the Mumbai league, whoops, a lot of spending, but where are the income opportunities in Indian football? We're talking about 2015-16, right? And there still was hype around the ISL and all that stuff. But at I-League, even at I-League 2 level, at the time, second division league, you were losing, if you want to do well, you're losing 3 to 5 crores a year. And I-League, they were losing about 12 to 15. As I told you, many players will be able to sustain without a contract for one season, but for other players and staff, it's going to be bleak, and that might add to the difficult job market. Yeah, I know from people who are working in clubs who still have some role somewhere that they're literally winding down the operations and they don't know where they will end up, right? And some of them, of course, have earned well over the years. A lot have been not. And those people will be suffering. Again, small-time players, support staff, analysts, coaches here and there, those guys, right? I mean, those strength and conditioning guys maybe can go in another sport. But I don't know that is my real concern, right? And yeah, because the top, not even the top, but the mid-rung players, I don't think they will face a problem. They'll have some sort of future here or there. The question at the end of the day is, how does the system work? Yeah, it's something. I still don't know how we could get to this situation. It's very, 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 very depressing. Speaking about Link, we saw how well AIFF streams another golden page in our epic history. Yeah, I don't even know why that was flagged. That would be an interesting one to know why that link was flagged. Do you think we have a lot of academies establishing now and selling dreams to kids and their parents, but most of the outcome is that a lot of kids aren't going to make it into pro level? Brendan, I don't know. I don't even, I wouldn't say, I don't know. For that, I don't know enough if there are, uh, academies being set up. I know that there are a lot of pay and play models, but I know the ones that I know. For example, I've worked with, I do advise still the German Football Academy. There, you don't sell the dream of that you're going to become a professional. It's clearly said that it's a pay to play model. And if there is something else in the future, then we'll see how we can help you. But yeah, but I know that there are some academies who sell dreams. I know those linked to the big clubs or entities, but uh, yeah, there are some others who don't. I can't believe, with all due respect, how AIFF did not understand the need to begin negotiations on time. What were they expecting? But the question is, isn't onus on FSL2 to push for talks? FSTL presented their plans to the AIFF last year, right? I mean, methamphetamine, and were waiting for a counter proposal from the AIFF, which came 4 or 5 months later. So to me, the problem is, um, yeah, if, as I said, for me, if I look at the two partners, for whom it is more important to ensure that this relationship stays alive, it's for the AIFF, right? You are getting 50 crores with no questions asked. So for you, it is more important to ensure that the contract survives, right? Also that the ISL survives, because if the ISL doesn't survive, um, that kind of investment, think about 12, 13 clubs investing their money, the league investing their money. What are we talking about? 400, 500, maybe 600 crores maybe invested. Maybe, yeah. Everyone is losing in this scenario. Of course they are. But the people at the bottom end are the big losers in this, no? Right? Even DSK, Shivaji, yeah, but they didn't shut down because of the financials. They were losing money. They created their own academy, right? Changte is the most famous of their products, so to say. And they had to shut down because of financial crisis of the DSK group, right? Hey, Yuvraj, welcome back. I'm doing fine. Guten Abend, Aditya. Is it true that City Football Group is going to quit Mumbai City FC? And I'll link to what Methamphetamine says. If the rumors surrounding CFG true, then we're due to the current crisis. Of course it is. But Aditya and Methamphetamine, to both of you guys, what I've said earlier today as well, CFG will have to reconsider their involvement in Indian football as well. So therefore, if things don't get sorted out, yes, they will pull the plug at some stage. But they will not only pull the plug, the owners at Mumbai City will also pull the plug. As would everybody else. We are forgetting that everybody in the system who runs a club, academy, franchise, whatever you want to call it, operation, everyone's losing money. So therefore that's a problem. And again, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are criticizing City. Oh, you didn't give Indian players chances to go here, and then again they give, to the players is difficult, yeah? And so therefore for me, not easy. I mean, Apuya, yeah, got a chance to train a couple of weeks in Lommel. But I guess also then the scouts within the City Football Group system then realized, you know what, the standard of Indian players is such, it makes no sense to get them here and there, right? And sad for us, but again, reality. So watching Iki Tiki and Wirtz is like watching a Mont Blanc pen writing on a white paper flare the smoothness. Yeah, very talented player. Can an Anirudh Thapa, Anwar Ali play German 40? No chance. They will struggle in the 60 here with my club, FC Ramshad. You know? Any chance of a signal outcome of tomorrow's meeting? I don't mean I have no hope. Yeah. 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 And again, if something happens, yeah, I think we should take it. But I don't see anything significant happening tomorrow. I think the point here is what will be discussed and what can be an outcome. You know. So let's see. Is it true that Mohan Bagan did not approach AIFF due to the meeting thing? And with those strong remarks, Mohan Bagan sounds a bit arrogant, isn't it? Is this some agenda of Kalyani towards Bengali guys or just genuine blindness of Bengali clubs? No, Aditya, what Mohan Bagan has said is very, very clear that they don't see a value in this meeting. They don't see a value in the AIFF currently, and therefore they don't want to attend. Right. So, yeah, and this is, it has nothing to do with blindness. Again, this meeting tomorrow, if someone says to me this and this happened, so I don't know. So one suggestion, please, if one wants sponsors from market for youth academy with a decent setup and with a good history of winning decent leagues, baby ones, grassroots ones, then what route to use? Yuvraj, at the moment, don't talk about Indian football. Talk about yourself and your academy, right? I think that's the easiest thing to do. Right? So I don't know. That's given you know what the problem is for an academy? Academy normally around the world is an expense, except if it's a pay to play model, right? It is an expense to you, to everybody who involved. So the challenge is, how do you make it work? You make it work that an academy sells on players, and we still haven't created that system. So therefore, for me, sponsors for an academy are very, very difficult anyway to come by. Hey Akash, welcome back. Local sponsors saying they paid 150 crore to Argentina for match in Kerala in October, November, but now Argentina not ready to play this year. Sponsors saying you will take legal action if they don't come. Football India, I've heard, again, you've now pushed it to 150. I heard that 130 were paid. I've heard now from Argentina, someone supposedly only half the money was paid and there was no commitment because dates were not clashing. Dates were clashing, and Argentina setup doesn't want to play in India. So it was a mess from the start. And again, we're wasting time on this. It's like Messi coming supposedly in December to play cricket or whatever someone's telling me, right? So these are the realities of India in 2025, that someone is willing to pay these kinds of monies, which has no value for Indian football. Whatever. Your thoughts on Indonesia match? Murali, I didn't see it for full, so therefore I don't have that much of an opinion. Prime Champion was good enough for third division of English football. Anwar will struggle in Sunday League. Yeah, Akash. Yeah, supposedly, but that figures I don't think is right. What do you think is going to happen or not this year? Ritima, I said a few weeks ago, I said a month ago about 60-40 not happening. At the moment, I would say 70-30 not happening. So it's realistic that it might not happen. I don't think it'll happen this year. I think if as long so therefore, yeah, at the moment, it looks like January. Ranju Bhaiya claiming to have gotten an invite to Mick Cup next year. How likely is it to be true? Is Mick worthwhile tournament? Top 10 Prime TV, if he's got an invitation, great for them. But I've said these so-called tournaments, which happen over 3, 4, 5 days with multiple matches, which none of them are 90-minute. What are we proving? And that's the point. So therefore, for me, I've said, if they're serious, come to Europe for 2 weeks, play friendlies here, there, and everywhere. So let's see. Given what has happened, what is the learning lessons that we should take as Indian football fans? Shaggy, don't believe everything, that is being put out there. That's the biggest problem. Everyone is looking at engagement and not giving solutions to the issues and problems that we're facing. That's my big takeaway at the moment, given the realities of things, as sad as it is. And things need to change, and fans need to question. But question, it doesn't work. Indian football, I just cannot. Reality. I get an interview of a German academy owner. He said, I sent 800 mails and jersey with a CV. After 10 days, got replies from 15, then work out with 2. Can this be applicable in India, sir? Yuvraj, I still don't know. I don't know. Are you approaching as a player? You're approaching academy, or you're trying to raise money? I don't know. Yuvraj, can you rephrase it? If AIFF has cash crunch, will they allow clubs to come together and organize the I-League, schedule fixtures, find sponsors and broadcasters? Nadeem, they did it last year and failed. Didn't they do it last year? Didn't the I-League clubs come together and pool in to get Sony in, and then said we will bring in sponsors, this, that, and everything? It's not happening. Right? The I-League clubs are in the same boat as the ISL clubs, only with, instead of Reliance, they have the AIFF. They're as incompetent. Actually, no, they're worse. Much worse. Right? So therefore, which sponsor will come forward? And if I'm a broadcaster, I will increase my fees X time and say, give me that much of money, otherwise don't. This 2.5 crores that Sony demanded last time, they will demand 5, 7, maybe 10. Or they might say, you know what? No, thank you very much. If the ISL is not held, the likelihood of a proper I-League happening as a proper home and away competition looks bleak at the moment. Yeah. It calls for 34 initial investments. Okay, so I want to raise money as an academy. We need funds to travel pan-India and fund operations, so we can go by that 800 model to MNC's corporate sense. Yuvraj, I don't want to be too negative on this, but it's nice, but who's going to give you the money, right? And if you don't have anything, right, and then you want to build something, like your initial investment to have something proper to show off to people, you will need 3, 4, 5 crores most probably as an academy to invest, to show I've got something. Would you be interested in what we have, right? Therefore, that's the challenge. Mohanbagan know that meeting tomorrow is nothing value other everybody at the end shaking hands to work together to make Indian football great. Nadeem, yes, but you know what the problem is? Mohanbagan super giant, as the oldest club in Asia, as at the moment best funded club in the ISL by Mr. Goenka, should be part of that meeting. More or less of a handshake? No. I think the ISL clubs themselves should have a meeting amongst themselves physically. That is important. They need to tell their owners, go and meet Mrs. Ambani. Let's reach out to the Supreme Court. Let's send a letter to AFC and FIFA. That is what they should have done by now. Right? They're all passengers. They're passengers in this journey. That is the real problem. Right? They cannot be passengers. You need to be proactive because it's in your own interest. Otherwise, things are not moving. That is what I feel is the biggest problem at the moment. sorry. F is the one act as backbone for the last 15 years. They've done a lot of things that no one could imagine. If they quit, entire system would struggle. I don't know why people think otherwise. Because Daniel, people think that someone. My point is here very, very simple. Okay, let Reliance go. Right? Elsewhere in the world, when you have these kind of situations, you have sports management companies, marketing agencies coming forward saying, I guarantee you X, Y, Z. You know, so yeah, that's the reality, and people don't understand it. Hey, Dark Knight. I think we're just clearly stupid. Like, what are we even doing? Messi to play cricket while our own football stars. What's next? An actual Border Gavaskar trophy? Yeah, maybe that's something. Yeah, that's, I don't know, Border Gavaskar trophy, or I don't know, some sort of Ganguly trophy. I don't know. No bill is passed till now in Parliament. Yeah, as expected. Mohun Bagan and East Bengal are above the AIFF and FSDL. They do not need to care about survival. Others should. And Shomo, exactly this is part of the problem of the psyche of Kolkata, of Bengal, of our football. Mohun Bagan and East Bengal should be at the forefront to ensure the future of Indian club football. They only care about themselves, right? They've harmed the system at the moment, and they are not above the AIFF or FSDL or anything, because you're still a club, you're an entity. And East Bengal and Mohun Bagan don't realize that if the ISL disappears, do you think Mr. Goenka and the Imami will be around? East Bengal and Mohun, do you think anybody else will now come forward to support the clubs after all that has happened? I've said that multiple times. Nobody wants to listen, right? Yeah. That if you look, Mohun Bagan has been very lucky that they were able to tie up with Mr. Goenka. East Bengal, over the last 7-8 years, this Imami is the third investor, right? People have already forgotten about Quest and Shree Cement, right? They were very lucky, and what Kolkata is not realizing, that East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, will move into a modern sporting situation because nobody will put money into them anymore. And the big talk of the officials, of the fans, how much money have the fans spent on the clubs? Don't tell me I've bought tickets and I've bought a jersey. No. Right? Look at the way the Mohun elections were held. What are we talking about? These clubs are at the moment, they should be I always say, at the forefront of Indian football growth, development. They've rather hampered it. They've rather drawn it back because of their own interests. Yeah. So, hi, Woman. Hope you're doing. I'm doing well. Thoughts on India's Indonesian team? I should have won it. Woman, I watched it in patches, so yeah. I don't know if we should have nodded, but yeah. Someone who loves football will work more on our model, sir. The academy is few years old now. We're doing decent financially, not a big problem. Like a sponsor for years is different. Yuvraj, as I said, academy, very difficult, and yeah, it's very, very difficult, because again, academy is an expenditure of a club which you fund because you're making, or you're not making, but you're hoping that you will make money. Either you make money or you're hoping to make money through the academy. Yeah, at the top, and then you filter down, or you make money. There are people who want to invest few lakhs in football. It's the people working in football might not be able to give a proper reason when you get the money. People who spend lakhs for charity, big events, etc. for football, also they might spend for academies to show the plan. Nadeem, I know people who've been running academies for decades, and they're doing good job. theoretical thinking, this is the problem, right? This theoretical thinking is very good, right? But the reality is that these people are not putting the money in. A lot of people told me, oh, when this whole CSR model is coming, uh, you know, you know, and this is the reality. This is, again, it's a nice thinking, but the reality is, I know a lot of people are doing good work across India. No one is coming forward to sponsor them or support them, right? A lot of good projects, despite all the problems. If system fail, Mohun East Bengal fail, that's it. Yeah, but again, try to explain it to East Bengal and Mohun Bagan fans who think they are above the system. They are the system. They're not, right? Messi playing cricket is promotion of cricket and never not football in India. Yuvraj, I don't need Messi to come to India, right? That is money that, yeah. I mean, Nadeem was talking about supporting academies and all. Is any of this money going to go into academy? All these big things that have happened over the years. That, oh, this guy has come, that guy has come, this, blah, blah. Money is supposed to come in. I know that the crores have been collected through different things that bringing in teams and this and that, everything. It's never been supported. Yeah? Respectful legacy clubs have only cared about rivalry in their cloud. Even if ISL is gone, they know nothing will happen to them, and thus they know how much they care about Indian football. Methamphetamine, I don't think that this time around they can say that. If Mr. Goenka is gone, do you think that Mohun Bagan can spend at that level or even close to it? No, it can't. Tutu Bose, since Mr. Malia went, has been the main funder, and he's done whatever he could, right? Again, in Indian football, a lot of people who've been funding stuff don't get credit. So, yeah, if sports bill is not passed, then no Supreme Court judgment, that means no ISL at the end. Question is, this is the good question, because like you, a lot of people have been arguing with me and telling me, you know what, the bill has to be passed first, and then the Supreme Court comes up with the verdict. Right? That's been said now X number of times. We'll have to wait and see. Right? I think Ranji will pitch in using all the engagements in Rio's matches in Europe and approach sponsors. Nadeem, who's going to give him the money? Again, even he had to go around and say, you know, before going, I need money for this. Right? And he's been talking about his academy for years. There is no money that people are, OCI PIO लेके आ गया नहीं नरेश कुछ नहीं आ गया, nothing has come. Let's see. That it does not matter who investor is. We do not know whose money is invested where. We can only see only big corporation house name with East Mohun East Bengal. There are other source of money invested. No, they're not. Shomo, wake up to reality. Again, the Lulu is on a different level sometimes. And East Bengal and Mohun Bagan have been lucky that when we did the roadmap that we considered and said, listen, we're going to put them in, right? There was a discussion at the time to say, you know what? Shut the ISL, leave East Bengal, Mohun Bagan out. That was an option, right? Maybe that was the better option if I look at it now. Because what has East Bengal, Mohun Bagan brought to the ISL over the last 5 years? Increased spending. Nothing more, right? No quality. If East Bengal and Mohun Bagan are the drivers of this league, then I should have higher television ratings. I should have had sponsors coming in and more interest in general. None of that has happened. None. So, you have to win your group or be one of the top teams in, wait 1 second, I'll just read out to you what it is. 1 second before I say something wrong. Let me just. AFC have different qualification criteria. So the top team for sure in the GH and the 3 best second place teams go in, right? So, and that will be difficult now because India has drawn a game. So India as a second best team, yeah, you would have had to actually beat the team which finishes 3rd and 4th. And that will be now the challenge for India, right? Myanmar scored 6-1 against Turkmenistan. India next play Turkmenistan in a couple of days. So India needs a big win. And then we actually have to beat Myanmar because I expect Myanmar to beat Indonesia. That makes it difficult. Yeah. People are still in delusion that academies can change anything. If the system is rotten, nothing good will come out of these academies. Yeah. Again, the academies are part of the problem and not part of the solution at the moment. If system doesn't sustain, where will East Bengal Moman will play CFL and IFF Shield and Durham? That's it. Dark Knight. I've heard fans who said they're fine playing CFL, Durand, and IFF Shield. Yes, that is one of the options that they're considering actually. Shaggy says, disillusional stuff. Why are you polluting this conversation when other clubs are closing operations? Gross insensitivity towards the whole situation. Yeah, because they think they're bigger than everything. This has been the problem of these clubs. You know, no, it hasn't been passed. And there is no OCIPO bill. It's not coming. It's a sports bill. Lollipop we have tomorrow? No, I don't think so. Bengali clubs have generally looked down at other ISA teams from the start, except ATK. That is truth, because although I love Odisha FC, but a part of me wants unfortunate things to happen so that the Bengal clubs will crumble with their arrogance. Yeah, but even ATK, ATK came and, they tried to change it. And I think at the start it worked, but at the start, so therefore for me, it's a difficult one, right? Do you think we have to appreciate FS still even after all these? The people in FS are still keen on doing supportive football. If I'm in the place, I would have walked away. Then, yeah. Again, you have a very, 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 very valid point that if we look at the things, we have to credit that Reliance. I wouldn't say FS there. I would say Reliance hasn't walked away. I think that's a very, very important fact that you're saying, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, so yeah, that's the reality. So the most satisfying round was defeating Sudeva junior team 8-2 and drawing versus SC junior team in a game where we dominated Snaps away. Good, great. Right, nearly 1 hour and 10 minutes. Quick reminder, if you're liking the conversation, if you're liking what we're talking about, and 18 likes so far, I think we can do better. And of course, share with others and subscribe, guys. Subscribes and then join the conversation. So I'm sure FIFA ban will be imposed in the coming days, and only after that will the Supreme Court wake up and things will slowly start to take place. Let's see, Mohammed. Right? That's the big problem. Sir, English तो हम आती ही नहीं, आप हिंदी लैंग्वेज में बोला करो. नरेश, मेरा हिंदी इतना अच्छा नहीं है, so therefore English is more suitable to me. Therefore I speak in English. I know people also have wanted me to speak in Bengali. Yeah, that's safer to me. So the biggest problem about Indian football is the world limit is too less to address. Yeah, match. I think legacy clubs will never perish no matter how much financial crisis. Our history has set examples to people who crowdfund if need. That's what I guess gives them confidence. Amphetamine, even crowdfunding has not saved clubs. Bury Football Club, right, has crowdfunding has never worked, right? Didn't East Bengal do crowdfunding a while back for youth development and for infrastructure and other things? you know, you know. So that's the point. I think people doesn't put respect on people who put money, even after putting this much money and losses, they still want to stay in the system. I really have to appreciate people who are putting money. Okay. The panic button the ISL clubs have hit now, had it been hit a year or two back, it would have been not this bad at least. Yuvraj, things could have been managed. I said 2 years ago now. I mean, Shaggy was here when I was speaking about it recently. Right? When I said that this is the situation, these are the realities, and this is a perfect timing when after you won the SAF Cup to really, really push for for the extension of the contract. The AIFF was in a strong position. Now the AIFF is in no position. The AIFF is, I don't know. What do you think how Diamond Harbour FC is getting money, how they are attracting big names compared to other league clubs? Shomo, you're comparing Diamond Harbour FC. Look at who is behind the club with East Bengal and Mohun Bagan. East Bengal and Mohun Bagan have to, not Mohun Bagan at this moment, but East Bengal and Mohun had to go beg to Mamata Banerjee to help them out. Diamond Harbour is actually in a better position than East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, and Mohun is voting. Right? So even other teams who have political backings are in a better position. This is something which you need to understand again. But I don't know whom, the roadmap is so poor. How can a roadmap written to include two clubs separately? See, Nadeem, people like you think, you understand how these things work. And again, I can go into discussion, right? Is the roadmap perfect? Of course it's not. Because why? The biggest mistake of the roadmap was that you did not factor in that the COVID pandemic would hit. And that has changed a lot of things, a lot of realities. The main aim of the roadmap was at the time to ensure that there is a transition from the I League to the ISL being the top league, and how to grow Indian football. And ensure that over the next 10 to 12 years, the league becomes a full league in regard to maybe 16, maybe 18, maybe 20 teams, and have a proper relegation and promotion process in place. What needs to be understood, right? And this is what you guys don't understand. But these assumptions were made that slowly down the road, 22, 23, the ISL will generate television money, will generate more sponsorship money, making it sustainable for Reliance in regard to saying, hey, we are able to cover our costs. The clubs are going towards a break-even point. And Reliance even saying, you know what, we are above covering our costs, we're able to potentially give the AIFF money. Right? If COVID hadn't hit, I think that would have been possible. Right? And why were East Bengal Mohun Bagan included? And this was a huge discussion at the time. Because of the potential that they brought. And if one is honest, and this will hurt East Bengal Mohun Bagan fans the most, they are commercially, for Indian club football, for the ISL, not as valuable as they could have been or should be. So, that is, I think, the hardest learning of all. Because I would have always said they will add a value and they will enhance the value chain. to make the ISL potentially break even and be profitable. Again, COVID, no one could have predicted that. But also that the Kolkata clubs per se are not the sponsorship crowd pullers. Crowd pullers in stadium, yes. Social media maybe here and there, yes. But not in the numbers that you need to make Indian football profitable. The Kerala Blasters have been actually a bigger success than East Bengal and Mohun Bagan for the ISL. And that needs to sink in. With all the problems that the Blasters have faced in the last 2-3 years with fans in this. A legend once said about Diamond Harbour, see, they spend in cash, not in money. No offenses, but again, as I said, every time I open Twitter, I see Diamond Harbour signing a player. Yeah, ATK was successful in the beginning because they were not clashing with Big Two. Yeah, Akash, but again, the marketing was good. Up to year 3, I would say the marketing was good. Even when they went to Ravinder Sharma, the marketing was good. And the second they reduced the marketing, and this is the problem. Why have Chatterjee gone to Swiss court against caste order? How will you apply to a non-EU matter? Makes no sense to me. Shaggy, they're desperate to survive. They're desperate to get their point across. The Swiss federal court, this is not in their jurisdiction. CAS in the order clearly says this is the final instance. There is nothing to fight. And I'm sure they tried to go to courts in India, and so yeah, what to say. We are blaming AIFF. Why didn't AIFF initiate talks 1 or 2 years back on renewal of MRA? They are also to blame. Nadeem, how do you know that they didn't? Again, this is the problem. You guys seem to know things which you don't know, right? This is the problem. You think you know things which you don't. Again, as fans, you know 5% of the things that are happening because that is what is being put out in the public domain. You don't know what conversations have happened in the background, what conversations took place and what didn't, right? The AIFF didn't bother about those conversations. They didn't want to have it. I said on the night of this half championship victory to the top brass of the AIFF, now go to Reliance and work out a renewal. This is your best option, your best bet, right? I remember me saying in many groups in 2019, 2000, many clubs would close down if Reliance leaves or relegation starts. Yeah, so what? No, relegation would have not been a problem if the system had worked. But the system, see, you have to adjust your plans according to the realities, right? And this is the other problem. Oh, we've set a plan, let's stick to no, you have to stick to the plan, but the plan needs to be adjusted accordingly. That is not being understood, right? You knew in 2019, brilliant, Nadeem, then please, you write a roadmap and then hand it in and then say what you want to do, right? I was there. I just came back from the SAF final in 2023 and Bangalore. Yeah, you were there. You said it the other day, right? I mean, I'm not saying this here for saying it. I did it. Sir, if an M&A is assigned, how many years are we looking at according to you? I would say another 10 years at least. I think a 10-year MRA, maybe a 15-year MRA. Again, the talks need to be initiated. They've never been held properly, right? This is a superficial conversation. There is no final conversation on this matter. Damanasi is the richest club in India. These people don't know who's the owner, is the true ultimate boss in West Bengal, the Bombay Super CM. And now stability events that were commonly said to be not going to happen makes me wonder to re-announce respectively Orunavo Damas. Yuvraj, thanks for this, but you know what? I always think, so that's the reality. But people will not listen. No? People think they understand with having no understanding of things. Again, I'm open for an argument. If you can convince me, as I say, I'll agree. But the world has to wake up earlier, has to do their homework, has to understand, right? But on a serious note, I think people here at the helms are too hooked up on dancing in the spotlight for temporary image. Actually, no vision. Leave aside one for 24/7. Is it for the spotlight? Yeah, maybe. I think it's more about regarding control and not having the idea and understanding, right? Clubs can survive playing in district leagues. Franchise shut down when they see no return on investment or brand value going down. They never agree to play in lower tier. Should stop trying to copy ISL. IPL. Arthur, what's the value of playing in a district league? Right? How many teams? Let's take the Calcutta Football League. Look at the Calcutta Football League in the year 2000. Look at it in 2010. Look at it in 2020. Look at it at 2025. And then compare the teams that have been in there out there, right? You know? So therefore, for me, this logic, I agree with you on the point in regard to try to copy the IPL, which now in the model proposed is not a copy of the IPL. But the problem is that my investment in sports everywhere has failed, right? So everywhere, people who invested in non-cricket sports, every owner, every league is bleeding. That's a reality. Other sports like volleyball and rugby gets hundreds of crores per year to run their leagues, but government has soared on AIFF and corruption, so they don't receive even half the money they did 5 years ago. Arthur, who says that? Where do you get your information from? Do you think that the rugby league was funded by the government of India? Do you think that the Prime Volleyball League is being funded by the government of India? There is no money from the government going into these leagues. Who tells you this? Where do you get this information from? The rugby league was funded by GMR. I think that's a private institution. The AIFF is by far the biggest federation in India after BCCI. You can put your volleyball, basketball, rugby, table tennis, all of those federations together, they still will not be as big as the AIFF. And that has been funded mainly by Reliance, FIFA, AFC, not by the government of India. The government of India was doing special projects. How do I know? Because they funded, for example, the under-17 team program. We got the German FA to fund part of that program in 2015, 16, 17. So please, how do you know? You don't know the things you're talking about, and you want to have a discussion and want to convince me that you know your stuff. All these private leagues, So that is your problem, no? The small federations get grants from the government, yes. But that grant from the government will bring the AIFF nowhere. We're talking about a federation running at 120 plus crores. Whoa, you're going to get 3 to 5 crores as a grant. How far do I get with that? Right? I think Kerala has immense potential. The 2021-22, the people were crazy here. If we had won the title, Kerala would have turned into yellow for a day. And as I said, the Blasters, I say again and again, have been the success story of the ISL. But yes, because of India, you need success. Basically, that there won't be investors in future. If proper pyramid exists, there will be millionaires that grow up liking football more than previous generation. Passion for football was franchise looking for value. Arthur, then, if your logic works, and this is the problem, then the NFL would have been successful, failed, right? Then it had to be rebranded. And again, you have to know the story. Why was the National Football League created in 1996? Because the secretary of FIFA in 1995, a certain Sepp Blatter, came to India and said, you don't have a national league? Right. They were presenting him everything, Mr. Right? Whoever was there. And we have the Durand Cup, we have the AIFF Shield, we have Rovers Cup, we've got all these other tournaments, and we have the Calcutta League, but we also have Goa League, Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, whatever. He asked a simple question. You don't have a national level league? Simple question asked in 1995. Right? Mr. Blatter came back in 2007. Because 1996, the so-called semi-professional NFL started. It was semi-pro, even though the players were getting, for that time, first time players were being paid in lakhs. So that was started. In 2007, the I-League was started. Again, on recommendation of Mr. Blatter, who by that time was FIFA president. It was the year that Mr. Blatter also decided India is going to host a Youth World Cup. I was there in Johannesburg, that when he said, oh, the sleeping giant of world football and all that stuff, and then all of that happened. People have invested money. But after a year, people have been running away. The only exception of that success story is actually Bangalore AFC. The real success story of that. Right? Kalyani Bharat, there's that. People have run away from football who had football entities who were potentially making the money on their businesses from football, who did not say this. But if I'm a billionaire or millionaire and I like football and I want to do something, I want to aspire to something, are you going to get people to aspire to play in the I-League? Difficult. I know owners who clearly have said, you know what, I've started the club with an aspiration to go to the ISL in the long run. Let me maybe invest a little money at the start, and then I'll try and move up the pyramids. If you're going to say that the I-League is your top aim, and I know people who have clubs in the I-League 2 and I-League 3, people will shut down, right? ATK was good at marketing because president was. Yuvraj, yeah, but not only that, I know, yeah, your president or one of the co-owners at Interkashi is Pritijit, but it's also that overall they were doing a lot of things right. Total attendance 124.25. I said 428,933. Total attendance, I said 1,934,882. It's 20% of total attendance. Total attendance. Yeah, Akash. But the value is not by one number. You know what marketing term numbers are? Right? There are a lot of, so this numbers are not numbers in that way, right? You have to look at them and then evaluate. Yes, if you look at it, Kolkata has given most of the fans, right? Because other teams don't have the capacity, the other team wouldn't draw on the numbers. But the problem is that one fan at X venue is worth more than 100 fans at another venue, right? Again, with all of these numbers, how much more money is coming? It's less. How do I know what's talked in the background? If I know, I wouldn't be coming to his channel and asking. I would have asked my friend Kalyani and asked to renew MRA. Nadeem, but you are talking as if you know what are the conversations in the background. No? That's why. You are depicting yourself that you know and understand things, right? Then ask questions. Don't make points as if you know and then, this is the problem, right? That's the thing. Without Eastman one answer, we'll be laughing stock in terms of viewership and attendance. No, it's not. See, that's the point, Akash, that you don't understand how numbers are read, right? I know Indian fans don't buy merchandise, but the clubs are equally responsible that fans don't know where to buy. Akash, again, I love this point where fans say, oh, I don't know this, I don't know that. In today's world, all of us have a mobile phone. All of us have Google. You can Google everything in a millisecond, right? When is the match date? Where do I get tickets? Where can I buy merchandise? There's that schedule and everything. This is one thing that the ISL brought, right? Proper scheduling. Huge problem under the AIFF over the years. But we always say, the fan, again, I see it from the other side as well. The fan, it's like you want the fan to be given everything piecemeal and he just turns up and then he goes home. The fan, if you look at fan culture in Europe or fan culture in other parts of the world, even in South America or in Africa, Southeast Asia, or in the US, the fan makes an effort to ensure that he's here, there, and everywhere. I always tell this crazy story of an FC Bayern Munich fan. 2005, we traveled with the B team of Bayern Munich to the AIFF Shield, right? By that time, the guy, I think, if I'm not wrong, had not missed a game of the Bayern Munich first team for 15 or 16 years, right? You know, on a Friday, he watched the AIFF Shield semi-final against Modern Sporting. Bayern B team won. Saturday, he traveled back to Germany to ensure that he watched the A team play in the Bundesliga in VfB Stuttgart in Germany. And on Sunday, he was back in Cal to watch the team lift the AIFF Shield against United Sports. This is the how it works. Oh, now please predict my future because everything you told about info just turned a bit direct. Angry Birds, again, I don't want to be this Nostradamus, whatever. I come what I know, how I logically think, what I think is right, what is wrong. Again, it is not rocket science what I'm doing. There should be at least X number of other people who should be thinking this way. So respected, there are some people in the chat who have Mr. Institutes as their source of knowledge. Yeah, but that's the problem. Prime Volleyball is not the National League, bro. It's not even associated with the federation. For my info. Prime Volleyball is the national level league. Otherwise, your best players wouldn't be playing. Yeah. And again, Ochut gives you the explanation. Volleyball League had a big fallout with Volleyball Federation of India a few years ago, but finally the federation had to relent and take players from the league and the national team, the best Indian players. Yeah. So therefore, Arthur, de facto, Prime Volleyball League is your national league because we don't have leagues. You understand? In Indian sports, we depend on state competitions. We have not moved on. This is the one thing which, from an IPL perspective, was good that we started franchise leagues because we don't have clubs. We do not have a club sporting culture. Big miss in India. Will this development force the players, few of not all, to move abroad like lower tier European leagues, which might indeed have the quality of players and turn into football? I don't think so. Who's going to take the question is who's going to take the players, right? That is your problem now. If I have to write a book on KC, I would label it as New Day, New Low, a New Normal. Oops, Yuvraj, very bad. JCT, Mahindra United, DSK Shivajans, Kalyani Bharat, FC Coaching, Dotsal, Titanium, Mafatla, Viva Kerala, I think, so therefore, that's the reality. Right? So that's the, yeah. A lot of clubs have gone because they don't see the value of investing. All these are names, all are corporate clubs, right? Even this has happened in Indian football. It will happen in Indian football because clubs now don't make money. Have never made money. That's a big problem. So Mumbai City FC can lose its deal with City Football Group with all this happening? Of course, Mohammed. 100%. A City Football Group will have to surely reconsider their involvement in Indian football, right? My bad in rugby, but still AIFF government grants are 1/6 from 2020 levels. After they're much less than 1/6. The government grants are non-existent. Think about it that they spent 30 crores on a team per year in 2015, 16, 17. They're non-existent. But that was a special project. AIFF doesn't live off the government. The AIFF lives off everything else. The government is just a small, minuscule part. This has to be understood. The government is not, right? Sport Minister Mansukh Mandavia announced on Thursday plan to introduce league formats in basketball, badminton, archery, boxing, wrestling, wild water sports, and polo with government's backing will probably happen after sports bill. So basketball will have its own league. I don't think they need it. Badminton has its own league. I don't know if you need an archery, boxing, wrestling, polo. There are competitions. They doesn't need a league. So this is the same sports minister who said India will be in 10 years top 50 of FIFA. So again, if you trust him, let's, do you think Indians are typical glory hunters? I see people crying for Argentina, forget them. Yeah, of course, man. I said in 2022, I asked the question. I didn't ask the question. I made an observation. I said I would love to see the supporters, Indian supporters of Argentina and Brazil supporting India in that way. And I remember I got so many comments. Oh, let India be successful. They're not, of course, supported. Of course they are. Club football, this is what it is. My source drive at the post CEO of Prime Volleyball League. Yeah, Uchut. That's why there is, the facts, the realities, and then what people want to believe or don't want to believe. If you don't want, this is the problem of the year 2025. If people think that there is a certain way, this is the way I want to think, then I'll do it. Right? I will not believe in what is true or what is wrong. So therefore, that's the problem. And we are in this, and it's that's the problem. So yeah, very big problem. Respect or no, if 22 plus 12% doesn't bring anything, then what Mumbai City or Hyderabad or Punjab or Chennai bring with empty stadiums? See, Nakash, that's why you don't understand how it works. The empty stadiums is not my criteria, right? Do this again. Who they will say that a 3,000 in Mumbai, and I know this for a fact, is worth more than 100,000 in Calcutta of attendance. That's been said by marketing guys, right? So the reality is, because in the marketing world, this will be hard. In the serious marketing world, East Bengal and Mohun Bagan and things. East Bengal front of shirt didn't have a sponsor last season because they were demanding so much that even betting companies didn't want to sponsor them. So, yeah. It's August 7th tomorrow, and still there's no criteria on Khalid Jamil from the AIFF. Yeah, because Khalid Jamil hasn't signed. There are multiple issues on that, right? But glory hunters, but I ain't one because the first team which made me fall in love with was 2011 Liverpool Football Club. You can't be a glory hunter if you love Liverpool Football Club since 2011. I don't know. I'm always careful if you are the fan of a big club from Europe. So, Yuvraj, at the end of the day, again, you liked LFC and you were hoping that the good days come back. They've come back, right? And I don't know, especially of what Liverpool has just done in the summer window. In fact, I was surprised when Tata's came up with Jamshedpur FC because by then Tata Football Club was a shadow of the past with lower focus by the management. What should Reliance convinced the Tatas to create Jamshedpur FC? That is corporate level. Kafa starts and then not will he leave the cup midway as the international team will at least? No, he won't. He wants to play till the end. Government don't care about football. Yeah, Rakna, that's this current government doesn't care. Yeah, right. Earlier sports ministers at least, but yeah. Suppose the private company who was bringing Argentina footballers in Kerala is not taking the 7 Argentina after transfer. Heard about this? Heard this? Yeah. Ruby, I heard it, and I don't think they paid that much. That's the first thing. Again, trying to buy support from the fans and people in India. Yeah. Make Akash Ambani, AIFF, new president, make AIFF renew the MRA at a price of their choice. Capitalism will kill. Yeah, you're right, but that's not going to happen. Ochit Bhai source is CEO of Prime Volleyball League. Meanwhile, some random voice source CEO of Stop My Relegation. So, yeah, but that's the problem, right? That's why I say we can have a discussion, we can have a conversation, and that's the point, right? Replicating IPL in every sport is not going to help us. Every sport has a different aspect, different approaches to grow in its own. 100% Angry Birds, but in India, the model which has worked for the people, or they think that it works, is the IPL, and therefore, that is the problem, right? Even in an ISL context. Whenever I go to India, I try to attend Mohun games, even go to Jamshedpur or Bhubaneswar, traveling 300 kilometers. Most of these Mohun supporters are from the working class. Football must for everyone. Akash, 100%. But if you see around the world, they, that they differentiate, right? So therefore, again, if you can agree with me, you don't, but that's the reality. And it doesn't matter whether you are from South Bombay or Bagbaja. No, it does. That, again, you have hit it on the South Mumbai. The South Mumbai fan is worth the most as per marketeers in any sport, if you like it or not. Right? A full Wankhede day is more than a full Eden Gardens. Right? But why is KKR successful? It's not because of Kolkata and sports. It's because of not even Shoaib Ganguly. It's because of Shah Rukh Khan. Right? So therefore, you need to know why these connections and the successes are there. 2006 LFC fan. I'm going to be the biggest Orientals, I guess. I too am an LFC fan since your club era. Yeah, but again, that's what I'm saying. This is something which is there. A relative of mine is a staunch Man United supporter but doesn't know anything about Indian football beyond a couple of names. Yeah, that's a reality. That's fine. We have to live with it, right? Looks like Khalid Jamil don't want India job, but AIFF want him to be coach. If Khalid doesn't come, then they will appoint Chandra. Let's see what they do. What about AIFF ISL team series meet up tomorrow? Is Twitter more good news? Dinesh, what could be the good news? AIFF has no authority to announce anything, right? That's the reality. Angry Birds, you have to be in Istanbul for no way other than that. Yeah, but Istanbul would have been 2005, right? Wasn't it 2000? What was? Yeah, I think. By the way, just noticed Mark is still posting Churchill brothers' statements regarding Swiss squad, which is absolutely false. Yeah. No disrespect to anyone. We are a community here. Long live Indian football. Yeah, that's the way. Tax you pay if you are in football and you want to live in Goa. I'm not going to lie, that's the AC Milan team getting humbled was ultimately remontada in my terms. Yeah. 90 minutes is a long time in Istanbul. Yeah, it was. 3-0, 3-3, and then the rest is history. And it's sad. It's sad, right? As I say, I'm willing to discuss. I'm willing to argue. If you can convince me that my point is wrong, so yeah, do that. But what I've learned over the years is one of the biggest weaknesses in all of our conversations and discussions is the lack of knowledge, right? And that is, that hurts. I feel that hurts. That hurts Indian football, and we are there. Right? I don't know how you're saying ISL don't need attendance. If so, keep empty stadium for Punjab, Mumbai City, Chennai, Hyderabad, majority of to working class people. Akash, I'm not saying that. Oh God, what am I saying? If you are telling, again, the success has the tendencies of Mohun Bagan in East Bengal. Mohun Bagan has amongst the highest attendances in Asia, right? Has that brought in one sponsor for the league? One. Right? One. In the last 5 years. East Bengal, the same question. Right? So for me, that is the question that we need to ask. And that hasn't happened. So therefore, the numbers are not there. Mumbai City has gained through the City Football Group. I know from the City Football Group that they're happy to put in top-level sponsors. Why? Etihad Airways as a sponsor of East Bengal and Mohun Bagan makes no sense. Because your crowd, as you said, working class crowds are not Etihad Airways passengers. Right? Potentially. So these are the realities. Pawan says, Dinesh, the news coming out of that meeting is going to be the lunch bill. Yeah, let's see, lunch bill, afternoon, chai, whatever. Yuvraj said, Uchud bhai, there are some fringe elements in our community, they need humbling time to time. Yeah, it's sad, but I agree. I agree to that point of Yuvraj, we've allowed people to get away with saying whatever they want for too long. We have to just tell them, listen, guys, these are the realities, and this is what we have to live by. Otherwise, things are not moving ahead. AIFF will talk to media after tomorrow's meeting. Surely they'll no, I don't know if they're going to talk, but they'll surely a press release going out. And it went well, this and that, everything. And again, what is the worst case outcome? They will write, we will remain in talks, but we're waiting for the Supreme Court to make its judgment. Speak its judgment, right? That's it. Worst case, we're looking and exploring at options. Because nothing more can be said. This meeting tomorrow should have happened 3 months ago, but that's the thing. Which is the best football match you still rejoice about? Germany, Brazil, 7-1. I would say. That was a match which that's one, and the other one is Bayern Barca, 8-2. Those two are the ones, yeah. New crash course incoming. Let's go meme materials soon. Hi, Rushabh. Welcome back. As a Kashi fan, it brings unprecedented when you see fans thrashing AIFF, but as an Indian football fan, it pains watching my country's football this way. Yeah, you're very right. This is the, TV broadcast money is the key. Also, a smaller stadium with packed attendance looks good on screen. Yeah, Uchut, that's the point. It's the stadium. It's who is going, and again, marketeers look at those. Yeah. So with all the faults, mess of Indian football and politics, community-based clubs surviving till long, Kolkata clubs and Northeast clubs, quality less. The problem is, but they survived. Ugni, how old are your Northeastern clubs? Most of the clubs we talk about are built in the 80s, right? We talk, for example, about Aizawl FC a lot. There are other teams who have a huge importance, Chanmari coming up, for example. I mean, I've been following Chanmari since 2014. When we did the Hoffenheim game before that press conference, I went there, they gifted me a jersey, I had a look, and then I understood what the importance of Chanmari FC or Chanmari West as another team is in Aizawl itself. To some extent, even bigger than Aizawl FC. Aizawl FC was a bigger thing, but even Aizawl FC, right? But community clubs, what have they done for Indian football in these 100 years? That would be my question, because we go back today to the conversation, which I say again and again, these clubs should be at the leading end of Indian football development. And today, they don't care what happens to Indian football. You're part of the system, and this is the reality. And this is, people don't want to accept. Well, in Bengal, football is more working class. Cricket is for the elite, something like that. At the moment, you will see difference between KKR and ISL ticket price. 100%, Blue. That you're spot on. And it's everywhere, right? So one buying in that hurt you the most? Champions League final 1999. That 2-1 loss to Man U. When YouTubers like Dima post about Savage Raja, one really knows how much Indian football has been humiliated in front of the world. Yes, all of them. Angry Birds, we've been made fun about, yeah. Mine was 2022 Champions League final versus Real Madrid in Paris, 10 hands scored. Yeah. I was wearing a Columbus Crew t-shirt, MLS Ohio team, and an aged gentleman told me, I'm a Philadelphia Union fan. Look at the passion where the sports serve is the 4th, 5th in popularity in the US. And Uchut, football has had its struggles in the US, right? In the 70s with superstars, with Pelé, Beckenbauer, George Best, and who all, as players, Bob Houghton as a coach of Toronto Blizzard over there. Yeah. So, yeah. And most KKR fans are there mainly because of SRK. Exactly. It's not even because of cricket. They're not even there. Again, Saurav Ganguly, most probably the best known cricketer of Bengal ever that Bengal has produced. No, they're not even coming for him. They're coming for Shah Rukh Khan. I have seen myself that people that turn up even though he's not there. So it is, yeah. But I've seen that in Mumbai, the crazy love of fans for these Bollywood superstars. It is insane. The Kolkata clubs have failed to look at other parts of Bengal. Raj, that is Again, yes, they have not bothered about grassroots, youth football. You know, I take East Bengal out because they've done good work. Yeah. So, yeah. Did you watch Firmino play in Mizoram? Yes, Nadim. I organized that trip. I was the commentator of the match. So, yes, I know Bobby Firmino from that time. Yeah. So, when we get into the other side of Indian football, it shocks you how some clubs that have been seen as clubs of class do most similar things for a match. Yeah. Germany Brazil matches that did shock my dad. I think it shook the whole world. So, with your knowledge of football and Kolkata culture, how did Kolkata club survive playing top division football? Fans' money. How, sir? Real insight, please. Ugni, they survived uh, because in the past, football wasn't as big as in Bengal. You know, it came up to some extent Hyderabad, then Mysore was there, then this was there, that was there. But there wasn't national level football. Now, if national level football in India was created, I don't know, in the 50s, 60s, I don't know what the system would be, right? And club football per se, for example, Kerala club football is, I still don't know with the passion that fans have in Kerala, that really the Kerala Blasters were the first team to that extent catch the imagination of the fans. I would have said FC Cochin in 97 when they were created in the first season, yes, and after that, sort of it disappeared very, very soon. But that's a good example. Goa, it's a small little world. It's different. Northeast has developed over the last, Mizoram in the last 15 years, Manipur in the last 30 years. So it's a different thing, right? But the Kolkata culture in today's football is harming because you are not able to see beyond the Maidan, right? You see the clubs in themselves as they work and they operate, and so yeah. Well, as much as I don't want to say it, Rohan has deteriorated relations with government of Odisha. It's dead. I think Aditya. I don't think it's deteriorated. It's dead. I don't. I do you think that Odisha FC will ever again play in Odisha? No chance, in my opinion, about what he said on social media. I don't. Do you think that these government officials will accept that? He can say 15 times sorry. It will not happen. Odisha FC, to me, as sad as it is, if the club survives and goes elsewhere, it will survive. But in Odisha, I don't think it's going to happen. By losing to Chelsea at Allianz and also might be painful, dropped by equalizer and losing penalties. Yeah, Nadeem, it was, but again, 1999, it was done. It was done. Bayern themselves should have been leading 3-0, 4-0, can only blame themselves. Don't you think Karras had the potential to serve as a long-lasting number one for Liverpool? Angry Birds, you know what? I thought that about 10 days ago when I saw him for Schalke against Sevilla. And if you look at after that whole LFC thing, it seems now he's settling down as a Schalke number one, got the number one jersey, and it's only in the second Bundesliga. Yeah, it could have been. Well, that again, respectful, maybe I think the community clubs don't care because for the last 11 years they were forced to stay in second division. Akash, no, they didn't care before that as well. What did they do in the NFL and the I League? The community clubs, I've said this again and again in 2012, 2011, when the discussions were going on to turn the I League into a proper ISL, they blocked it. I don't think they deserve any mercy. They've had their chances over the years. They didn't do the things. I've watched just one IPL game at Eden, that too pressure from mom and wife because SRK and sort of were there. Okay, KKR versus PWI. Okay, I don't even know who PWI is. Sir, as a Liverpool Football Club fan, one suggestion, please copy our chant of Luis Diaz for Bayern. You guys will love it. No, I think they will create an own one. Bayern fans, I think, are amongst the most creative in the singing. Karius had concussion in that game. When you fail on that stage and there is someone like Karius in the market, things go different. Yeah, Jurgen Klopp was brutal. Huh? He's brought in the players. By the way, say even post he's been one had dominance and also from partition to Bangladesh football from tough times. Yeah, but Ugni, they were I mean, if you want to talk about Aizawl FC's success, Minerva winning, Chennai City winning, that's also the failures of East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, right? They were lucky that for a period of 15 to 18 years, Vijay Mallya was giving them money without any question asked, right? Kingfisher East Bengal successes of, but Kingfisher East Bengal, especially in the Trevor Morgan era, East Bengal should have won at least one, if not two, I-League titles, and they didn't, right? Even Mohun Bagan went through a very bad patch from the mid 2000s to the mid 10s. That match might haunt him till the end of his life, poor guy. It will. It will. Luis Carlos, very difficult. Is it really surprising that all these years state city leagues have been running but none thought about a national league before 95, 96? Speak volumes about the AIFF administration over the last 40 years. Not only them, but also the clubs. They were happy playing. I mean, you were in the past playing some of these scissor cups and I don't know, whatever small little tournaments you had across India. You were playing matches every day. Kolkata League matches were 70-minute matches, right? So we totally missed the bus, you know? Working class watch Mohun Bagan, East Bengal, Amount Sport, and some extended rich urban South Kolkata watch Premier League, League, and kids of urban middle class play cricket my own assets. Yeah, I guess that's right. And you know what the problem is? What I'm talking about this pushing out of working class and bringing in people with more money has happened in Europe, right? It is in Europe, you also say your business seats are more important than your ultras. Even at Bayern Munich, Uli Hoeneß said that many years back, I think 10 or 12 years back, and he was booed at the club. You know, if you're a Mohun asks questions to your club, then suddenly you're giving to a tag of East Bengal support. I don't want to say that words. Vice versa. I think it's also Raj, why have fans not asked their clubs questions? Why East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, I again say this, should be at the forefront of development of Indian football. And they haven't been able to do this. So the problem at the end of the day remains for me that these clubs have failed. What has been the main duty? Why don't they have a proper infrastructure, right? Do you think Schalke will get promoted this season? Rushabh, what I saw against Sevilla, I would have rather thought they're in danger of getting relegated, but the second Bundesliga is the most crazy league in the world that I know of. So anyone can go up, anyone can go down potentially. That league is insane. So I don't know. I don't think Schalke is in that position. But those teams were supposed to go up, all lost heavily. Fortuna Düsseldorf, Hannover 96, Hertha BSC, right? Kolkata clubs are restricting themselves into Maidan. If you work in grassroots, it is not only bring players, but also fans, because the players who will play, their family, all will be involved. Well said, Blue. TWI, Pune Warriors, India, the game that was dubbed Saurav versus KKR. Okay, yeah. That was I think that was the Goenka owned club, no? So have you watched Rio play for? No, I have not, Yuvraj. When political sports are present on boards of legacy football club, nothing good can be expected with all due respect to Indian politics. Yeah. So one of Kashi Academy player played for UP team in a junior AIFF trophy at Balaghat, MP, and was with the combo along with defeating Assam in final, also grabbed man of the match. Good. Yuvraj, this is not a small project. This is a long-term project. What are you suggesting? A very small number of people. Kolkata has a good fan base already. Just they come up for Derby one rest of the season. It's half of what Derby attendance is. Rushabh, yeah. But I know a lot of people who are fans of these clubs. Again, middle-class people, even upper-class people. But they would never go to the Salt Lake Stadium. And that is missing. If you see the VVIP area of East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, you've got too many people who shouldn't be hanging around there. Because the people that you need, again, the corporate guys, will not come. Right? And that is, if people don't want to understand that, that's the problem. Ochu says, Durand, Rovers, IFA Shield, Bordoloy Trophy, Nagchi Trophy, YY Cup, Scissors Cup, Federation Cup, DCM Trophy, Sikkim Governors Gold Cup, Darjeeling Gold Cup, lots of them. And then there are the smaller ones in the Northeast that we forgot. There are a lot of different ones that used to be in Kerala and Bangalore used to be one, and Goa, Bandudka Trophy is back. There are tons of these tournaments. And we've missed the bus on a number of fronts. And that is, I think, the biggest problem that Indian football has. And that to rectify that is very, very difficult. And with that, I slowly want to come to an end. Again, as I say, it's up to you guys. If you want to believe into what I say, um, you know, you can take it, you know, um, and therefore for me, yeah, that's the problem, you know. So that is difficult realities. But people don't want to accept realities. They want to live in their own worlds across all levels, and therefore Indian football is where it is. If we again, I say a lot of things could have been done over the last 27 years that I've been there, um, and that's what it is. But if you see Salt Lake Stadium facilities aren't at the level of Eden, that's true, Blue. But look at the Salt Lake Stadium facilities post under 17 World Cup. It is great now compared to what it was before, right? And I have organized big matches in that stadium. I know what changes I myself got to do in that stadium. I first time ever Wi-Fi in the stadium 2004, 2008. We got the dressing rooms done to some extent that Bayern can come. All that stuff that we've done. That stadium is much, much better. But yes, compared to cricket stadium, is nothing, right? And I take this as last from Raj. If ISL doesn't happen, then Imam and Mr. Goenka would leave definitely. Then will these officials do, right? Um, yeah, that's Raj, and that is what the Kolkata clubs don't realize, that they will fall to a Mohammedan sporting level because people will not. There are again, is the money, and who will fund Indian football these days? This is what I sadly say, that East Bengal and Mohun Bagan again at the forefront on all fronts, even on the commercial front, not there. And Rishabh, what happened to Ambedkar Stadium? Wasn't the ISL club looking to switch? It's supposed to be rebuilt. It hasn't. You know, it hasn't happened. It's supposed to happen. I don't know what the status is. And let's see. Biggest mistake of Mohun Bagan East Bengal was that they didn't develop their own stadiums in 100 plus years. Very soon, United Kolkata SC or Diamond Harbour challenged non-traditional football. Diamond Harbour SC is a huge danger. Look at how they've developed, and money is one thing, but there you've seen bring in Cuba Vicuña, allowing him to build a team. That's how you do it. And there's politics and there's money involved in that, but this is how you do it. And as you say, the new age fan does not care. They want success. And that's the problem. I mean, people who are East Bengal, yeah, and yeah, that's going to be a challenge. And Kolkata clubs fans response to, we go on about shitty infra. Why didn't they hold? Because they are more bothered about the signings of players, even now, right? And yeah, that's another point. So therefore, we could go on and on, but I slowly need to come to an end. 2 hours and 4 minutes. Guys, like, share, subscribe. Again, I'll try and answer. I need your support. And we need to grow this. We need to keep on growing this. And without your support, I will not be able to do it. Thanks as always. And I haven't heard anything. Someone said that FC Goa won 5-0, but I've not heard anything. So unconfirmed. And I'll be back. Trying tomorrow. I'm not sure if I can, but I'll try and do something tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'll come a little earlier. And good night, Rishabh. All to you. As I said, do like this video, even if you're watching afterwards. Share it with others and subscribe. And yeah, if you don't like it, I'm sorry for that. But these are the realities of Indian football as I understand it.